Well, hey there, this is Jerry, and I'm getting started on another episode of What's Broke Today. And today is part four and the final part on our 8N Ford tractor. And this will be the second segment of dealing with the electrical. So let's get going. Okay, I got my zip ties. So I'm going to start out here at the alternator and dang mosquitoes. That'll hold that. Um, Easy this will be because my hands don't fit in there very good. Okay, there's that. There. Okay. And when I get back here, I'm just going to zip tie it here near the battery. Uh, Number one goal here is to make sure that wires are not going to get caught up in moving parts. Okay. I'm going to reuse this blue wire, but I'm going to actually cut the end off of it and pull it through because where they had it routed, um, looked like a great rub point to actually end up cutting the wire. So I think I'll just run it under here and with my other wires and zip tie it because it'll still reach where I want to run it to. And I got the cat here helping. Old key switch out of here. There we go. Because the original key switch on this was just strictly on or off. You would turn the key on and push the button over here on the by the shifter to actually start it. I can pull that out of there. The switch didn't even work. That's part of the reason I got a new one. The other one was because that solenoid's not compatible with turns to start. And then also I took a paint pen, green on the ignition, red on the battery, and I know that's start. And then accessory, I'm gonna put it hopefully pointing down toward the bottom. So let's see how that fits. Yeah, I think we might go just like that. Let's open our bag of goodies. It's got all the nuts that goes on the back to hold our wires on. Comes with a nut to put on here, so almost like to take up space. Okay, that'll go up there. And we'll strip a little bit of that. And put that on with, I put ends on my fuse. All right, that'll be perfect. And so I get an amp gauge. I'll cut the excess off of this um, when we install an amp gauge. But for now, I'll just use our fusible link wire. And main deal of that is in case there is a short, we want the fusible link wire to burn out instead of melting down the whole tractor. Okay. All right, now I need to get an end to go on here. Okay. So let me go from there to there, up to there. So that'll go on our battery terminal down to our solenoid. And that'll run down there. And I think I'll put this stuff in some conduit as well. I think I'll go get some larger conduit for that. And the end to go on there. And then and this wire is going to go from the ignition switch to the ballast resistor. So on one end, I need a female spade connector. And on the other end, I need an eyelet. And then my white ignition wire up underneath the hood here. Got to stand up there and put a a spade on it. Okay, so plug that into the ballast resistor, and then I can take the other end of this, plug onto the ballast resistor, and then take the spade end, put on the switch on the ignition terminal, and put our nut on. And then here we're going to take this off. Don't need that. Now it's on the back side of that, so. But I haven't put a fuse in here, so I can put that up on there. Of course, this just goes to the alternator, so it can go up on there. And where we did used to have a red wire on this terminal, this would be an ignition bypass terminal, which on this we really don't need it. And then I don't think I brought tapes on the other side. And I'll tape these together like so. A little ways and do that again. Here, one last time. Mainly just holds them together for me. Okay. And then I got some more conduit. Just not sure how well it's going to work for all of this. Let's get that there. Uh, a genius idea ain't working as genius as I thought it would. Yeah, I should have staggered those butt connectors just a little bit instead of having them both end up at the same spot. We got all of that, and then let's take and put a little tape down there to hold it together. A little bit more around here where those butt connectors are at. And we'll come up here to this end. Do the same thing. Red wire is our battery, so we'll go around here to the back side. Our battery wire on our battery terminal. Nut started. Okay, and then we got our blue wire as our start wire. Put it on. And I'll just take the nut for accessory and put it on there and just tighten it, even though I didn't hook up nothing that needed to go on the accessory terminal. Put that back there. I'll zip tie around. I almost need to drill a hole there, but yeah, that'll work for now. Okay, all I need now is go get a fuse, and then we should be able to try and crank this. All right, got a 20 amp fuse. I was going to do a 30, but I thought for just run the ignition system, it don't need a bigger fuse probably than the 20. And then I need to pick up all my stuff that's sitting here, and then we'll try and start this. All right, so we'll come over here and turn the fuel on. All right, make sure we're in neutral, because with me doing this, our neutral safety is no longer working. And we'll come up here and I'll show you in here where I'll turn the light on. But yeah, I need to get an amp gauge, but I got plenty of wire here to tap into the amp gauge. So yeah, I think I'll probably come down here, maybe might drill a hole in this bracket so I can zip tie right here. I'll just put a hole right there. Okay, well, last thing our 8N Ford needs is the amp gauge replaced. I got my wire up here, and let's see. That wire we don't need. That might have been the wire for the light in the gauge. Not really sure. Oh. I don't know. That may not even be original there. So, and we got our new gauge. I'm going to take it off the bracket it's on. Of course, I'm going to install it, with pointing up the correct direction. And yeah, it's just don't quite fit. So let me take a file and make that hole just a little bigger. Okay, well I got a file. I'm just going to make this hole a little bigger because gauges used to be 2 inches on the outside diameter. Now most of them are 2 1/16 of an inch. And I wasn't missing by that much, so I'm just going to file this out a little. Okay. And see, it didn't take a whole lot. Now our gauge fits. And I'll get the bracket that goes on the back side and reach up under here and get it put up on there. All right, reach around, I'm going to do a flat washer and a nut on each stud. And of course, try and get it level. I got 2 eyelets to put on my wire, and I'm just going to pull that up and where I got the little kink in it. I'm just going to cut it there. And I'll pull this one up and strip off some insulation. Twist the wires together, and I brought blue ones. And the blue will fit in there, or it will fit in the blue connector. I can crimp that one. And then the other one, since it'll be easier to get to it through the outside, I'm going to do the same thing. I get my blue one. Over there. And crimp it. I'm keeping the blue one away from touching anything because currently it is connected to the battery. And of course, I'm going to get a nut, a lock washer, and a flat washer ready. I'm going to bring this underneath, and I'm going to hook it to the left side of my gauge. And very carefully, what you really should do, I'm going to come around to the other side so I can see better. I really should have unhooked the battery so I don't spark against anything. Okay, then we can take this other one and put on the other side, the one that goes to the alternator. And we'll do the same thing, a flat washer, a lock washer, and a nut. And probably should have done this one first because now both sides of that gauge are hot with battery voltage, I should say. And see where I got the wires hooked on. I think let's see if we can get hook the light up and see if it works. I'm going to trigger that light using the accessory terminal of the ignition switch. And of course our oil gauge, there's no light on it, so otherwise I'd hook it up too so they both come on. Oh, I wasn't sure if I was going to need a ground wire, so I put a ground wire on there, but the way it goes through the dash, Might not actually need that. I'll just snug that up. And then I can take my light and I'm just going to plug it into the back of the gauge. And when I turn the key on, it does light up. So I'm going to just cut that and push it up out of the way for now, just in case we end up getting a bad connection later and need to wire it in. And if you really want to get technical, you really should have probably the accessory wire or the battery wire from the switch probably should come up and hook onto the alternator side of the amp gauge so you can monitor in and out from the battery. But really all that matters on this is that we've got the we're reading the alternator. And I'm going to start this up. I'm going to turn the gas on about 2 turns, and then let's see if it starts. And of course I ended up hooking our wires up backwards. So yeah, when I had it when it was charging, it was going negative instead of positive. So, but that's an easy fix. Just got to take and swap these wires. So, oops. I'm going to put the one going to the alternator on first, so I don't have to worry about touching and shorting anything when I'm putting it on late if I did it later. Then I can take my positive and put over here. And then lock washer, flat washer. If I'd actually read the instructions, it'd have probably told me which side to hook to the battery side and which side to hook to the alternator side. Okay, so we'll do this again and see if I go to plus charging. All right, so just a quick overview of how I routed wires. Red wire from the back of the alternator. This is a GM style one wire alternator like you'd use on a race car. And then from there, goes in the loom and meets up with the white wire off the top of the coil for the ignition system, which is kind of hard to see, but there is a white wire there going to the top of the coil. And both of them in the loom go up along the back side of the spark plug wire tube, up here by the battery, and up under the little hood. When we get up under here, the white wire goes to one side of our ballast resistor. The red wire goes to one side of our amp gauge. Yeah, the other red wire goes down into the loom and around down here underneath the battery tray and to this blue fusible link wire, which is probably bigger than I needed. And then the other side of our ballast resistor goes to our ignition terminal on our switch. And the ballast resistor is dropping the voltage, so we don't have full voltage going to the coil and the points. And hoping that that drops it enough that we don't hurt the coil or the points. But if the voltage is too high, it will, burn up the coil and or burn out the points. So off our ignition switch, the pink looking wire on top is going to the light on the amp gauge. The blue wire in the center is going down to our starter solenoid. And of course, the red wire that goes into our conduit there is our battery wire, which ends up back down here with a 20 amp fuse. Of course, there's our blue start wire. We don't necessarily need ignition bypass or other terminal on our starter solenoid. Of course, we got in our new amp gauge, which looks really good. Oil pressure gauge, I'm sure it's sometimes been changed because it is in a very good shape. So, and of course, 12-volt battery, 12-volt charging system now, and so any accessory we add will have to be 12 volts. Well, I do appreciate you watching this 4-part segment on our 8N Ford tractor. I hope I covered everything well where it makes sense. I think the only thing we really have to do now is it needs exhaust. But he said he was going to do that, so I'm going to call him and ask him. But running good, driving good, everything seems to work like it's supposed to, so quite happy. The engine sounds good. It doesn't smoke. It fired right up this morning, just like I wanted it to. So, but I do appreciate you watching. I do appreciate the thumbs up for the likes. Thanks for all those comments. Big shout out to all my subscribers, that I do appreciate you watching and supporting me. And anybody else out there that's not a subscriber, hell, you're welcome to join on in, and because no telling what else you're going to see on What's Broke Today. Thank you.